with the way we pay them, and I get it. And what he said back to me, which, great point, and actually Jack and I had texted about this, and I texted Jack and I said, look, man, I got to get on a pod tomorrow because I'm a little fired up. And he said, why, Twitter? And I said, yeah. And he goes, Harper Gordek's right. And I said, I agree. He said, but here's the deal. The manager contract shouldn't even be a conversation. The dude hasn't won or lost anything yet. Just let him fail, and then you can bash the money that the learners give. And I said, why am I always in the minority? You agree with everyone but me? You know how we get in disagreements a lot on shows. And he goes, no. I agree with people who make educated arguments. So, to that point, here's what Harper Gordek said back to me. He said, well, they want the learners to pay the money necessary to get a great manager. When contracts are continuously low into the market, you wonder if that's what they are getting. And then he said, so worry would be maybe they sign Martinez because he would take a deal like this, not because he's best. Who knows? Don't have to pay for a good first-timer. Demand isn't high. And here's what I said back to that. People jump on the learners about everything. They pay players. We haven't seen Martinez yet. When he fails, by all means. Dusty failed when it mattered, maybe because he was lowballed, but he signed the deal himself. And this is my exact take on the matter. Is we want to hop on them for lowballing managers. And yes, I understand the point of if you lowball a guy, you come in with the standard of not paying high, you might not get the best guy for the job. And that's a great, great point. But here's the deal. Dusty Baker, I believe he's third or fourth all-time in wins. He signed the contract. Do I think he didn't win the playoffs because of a low standard of pay from the learners? Hell no. If you look at his career track, this is what he does. He wins regular season games. He loses in the playoffs. He's never won a World Series. He's appeared in one. So, Dusty Baker's a great manager. That's a fact. If you can get to the playoffs almost your entire career, you're doing something right. You know how to manage games, but maybe getting that low standard of pay is why he doesn't win playoff games. But that can't be it, because he's never won playoff games anywhere, and that's why he's out the door. And then you got a guy like Davey Johnson, another guy who's had a long line of success managing. And, I mean, I guess we lowballed him too. But he continuously won. I mean, his win percentage throughout his career is .600. I mean, Davey Johnson knew how to win games. Granted, he was old, but the whole Matt Williams thing was just like a try because we needed somebody. I just don't understand the whole point of... I mean, Harper Gordek's correct. I agree. And that's probably why we didn't even bother calling Joe Girardi, because, I mean, he made, I think, $8 million a year or something like that. But then the other thing is, you hear all these stories and read articles that Dave Martinez is the right guy for the job because of analytics. He knows when to sit players. He is bilingual. He talks to both players. This and that. So I'm like, well then, what the hell? $1 million a year? Shit, do we think he's poor? No. Come on now. I don't feel bad. And the fact of the matter is, if we go out and win a World Series, I know there's going to be Nats fans that say, well, we still lowballed him. He's able to win a World Series. Why didn't we pay him $6 million a year? Or sign him to Harper's contract? Well, I'm looking for that steal at this point. We're not winning playoff games with guys that have career records, that are in the top 10 of managerial wins. So bring in a new guy that's not high on the list and who's been surrounded by Joe Madden. I almost said John Madden. Yeah, John Madden, NFL. Joe Madden, one of the better, resumes across the board in the MLB right now, and he's still winning big games and won a World Series with the Cubs. So, Dave Martinez has been with him for 10 years. And if you can't beat somebody, not necessarily making the decisions over there with the Cubs, but if you can't beat someone, sign them. If they keep beating you, you sign them, you take them away. And the guy's been around the league, been around Joe Madden for 10 years. I'd like to see what he does. Joe Madden came out against us in the first round of the playoffs with 5 different lineups. We didn't come out with a single different one except for Jason Worth in the 2-hole. I love the idea of old school, new school coaching. And I think Dave Martinez brings the old school of Joe Madden and brings the analytics of new baseball. And Mike Rizzo loves analytics. So, with that being said, if we win a World Series, all I care about is winning. I guess I'm in the minority. I mean, I know DC fans like to win, but there's always that ifs, ands, or buts. There's always that, well, why didn't we pay somebody more? This and that. So, I just wanted to hop on that real quick. Jack would probably share something. I wanted to call him, but it's a little early. I don't know what his night was like last night. I know they had some live band where he was, so I don't want to bother him. Now, I don't want to move on to this, but sorry, I'm on Twitter because I was trying to pull up a link about the Redskins, saying something about Josh Doxson. But one more thing of the Nats. Sorry. There was an article yesterday released about how trading Michael A. Taylor would be premier right now, prime time. And I think I said that after the season ended. Is that you find a guy that might be at his plateau, his climax. I don't think he is, because I think Michael A. Taylor is getting better and better. But he just had a spectacular playoffs, and this is the time where you could get the most for him. I don't know a lot about, I know a lot about baseball, but I don't know a lot about player development. So, if Mike Rizzo or Dave Martinez in the long run sees that Michael A. is not getting better and is just plateaued at where he was in the playoffs, which, dude, I mean, he was a 275 hitter last year. He's capable of hitting 30 bombs, I think, and stealing 20 bases. If you're not okay with that plateau and you want to go get something, by all means. This would be the prime time, though. A lot of GMs you see a guy have a great playoffs and they know he's going to regress to the mean, and they get rid of him for somebody high or top picks, which I wouldn't mind because our outfield is deep. Victor Robles is coming up. Adam Eaton's back. Brian Goodwin's still here. I mean, Taylor or Goodwin would be great trade pieces to me. All right, moving on. Before I get into the Redskins, college basketball's back. College football was wild this weekend. Alabama almost went down. Georgia did go down. Clemson almost went down, or did they go down? I don't remember. I don't remember with Clemson. Yeah, they almost went down to Florida State. That's right. Miami taking the 2 spot. I mean, this weekend was crazy with football. And college basketball back on Friday night. Not many big games yet. But tonight's got some big games. The number 1 and number 2 teams face off. Duke versus Michigan State. And then you got Kentucky and Kansas. By golly. If you're a basketball fan, you're tuning in tonight on ESPN. I'll tell you that much. Florida started last night, opened up against, who did we play? I don't remember. Nobody important, but they looked just like where they left off going to the Elite Eight. And they got these 2 white guys that are lights out from 3, which we haven't had in a long time since Joakim Noah and Cory Brewer. His name was Lee Humphreys. Wake opened up this weekend. Yikes, they lost to a pretty bad team, which is surprising to me because we've been saying past 3 years, next year it is going to be the year for the Wake. And Wake's had a decent team. They're this close year in and year out, it seems, for the past 3-ish years. And they return Bryant Crawford, Keyshawn Woods, and Wilbekin. And I'm sitting there thinking this year, I mean, you got 3 studs coming back. And, I mean, Wilbekin had a down year last year, but Crawford and Woods, I mean, that's where you got your points a year ago. Granted, they did lose John Collins, one of the best big men in NCAA last year, and he looked great in the NBA, by the way. But, I mean, it's a struggle. I was concerned. Maybe it's just early season, trying to mesh with new players, but that's concerning. However, Jack said next year already. They do have the number 8 recruiting class, which is, I mean, I understand people wanting to play in the ACC, but wow. Number 8 recruiting class, Danny Manning. How about it? Moving on. So, I want to touch on the Redskins. I know Jack and I normally dive deeper into the Redskins. And Jack normally goes for an hour by himself. I don't really know how. I could go for an hour, but y'all would get tired of hearing my voice. I got a couple things to do today anyway. I just wanted to hop on and give a little talking points. Redskins. Jack and I don't share any opinions on the Redskins. I don't know, we didn't discuss it because he was flying away and he probably didn't even get to watch the game, I don't believe. I don't know. I haven't really asked him about the Redskins game, but I got to watch it. It's actually one of the first games all year that I pretty much watched the whole thing. I mean, I was at work, but the TV was in front of me. I hear so much. This is where I go sideways. I'll attack the defense in a second, but a week before against Seattle, you prance into Seattle in the snow and rain, and you win a big game, and everybody was like, all right, well, 4-4 at this point, who would have expect, and who would expect us to beat Seattle in Seattle? Granted, that's a damn good opinion, because who expects that? Not me. But, I mean, we hop on Kirk against Seattle and say, hey, he's one of the better guys, we got to pay him because of 2 throws, and then come Minnesota, we're trailing, and then people say, oh, he doesn't deserve the money, he's got to go now because of 2 throws. The same people that said he deserves a contract the week before because of 2 throws say he deserves to go because of 2 throws. What in the hell are you thinking? I mean, this doesn't all fall on Kirk. Kirk hasn't shown up in big spots throughout his career. That's a damn fact. You're not finding a guy in the top 5 of all quarterback statistics in the past 4 years the way Kirk is. You're not, unless you got Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan's struggling this year. I don't know why I picked Matt Ryan out with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, but I just did. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. You hop on a guy for 2 passes that are great, that win you a game, and then you hop on a guy for 2 passes that get batted down, and he's the reason we lose. No. He's not the reason we lose. He, for the most part, is the reason we win games. He's not the reason we lose unless he has, I don't know, a week 1 performance. Because this week 1, his performance was awful. And his preseason performance was awful. I'm going to be the first one to hop on Kirk Cousins when he plays bad. But the fact of the matter is, without Kirk Cousins, this team is nothing. Honestly. I mean, I'm watching, I'm looking across the board. My mind has changed every week surrounding the Redskins. This team has no weapons. None. I mean, you're going into a game against Minnesota, who's got supposedly one of the best defenses in the NFL this year. And you expect with our weapons to go out there and put up as many points as we did? I don't know where fans and media develop their opinions. Because normally, I mean, like I said, normally I'm the one to hate the Redskins. We put up 30 points. Kirk Cousins had the most passing yards in the NFL this weekend. I mean, 327 yards. He threw 1 interception. 1 interception. Here's the deal. He does not have a wide receiver. And this is why I say that, because Xavier Rhodes, we've known, I mean, that's their strong suit, their secondary. Xavier Rhodes is absurd. So you got Josh Doxson, who's trying to become a number 1. He gets targeted 2 times while Xavier's in. while Rhodes is in, and then Rhodes got hurt. So